Hello, and we're going to go over patterns in multiplication. Okay, Cindy is combining equal-sized rectangles from different fabric patterns to make a postage stamp quilt. Each rectangle has an area of 75 hundredths of a square inch. If she uses 1,000 rectangles to make the quilt, what will be the area of the quilt? So we're going to follow the pattern. 1 times 75 hundredths, anything times 1 is itself. So as the previous video in a gauge said, the pattern moves over 1 with each larger number, 10, 100, 1,000. So from 75 hundredths, it becomes 7 and 5/10. 100 times 75 hundredths becomes 75. And 1,000 times 7,500 hundredths becomes 750, or 750, not 750. That would be the incorrect words. Okay, we're looking at the key word, each rectangle, and uses 1,000 rectangles. Notice how 7,500 hundredths and 1,000 is highlighted. Those are the two numbers that we will use, and based on the keywords, it is asking us to multiply. Each rectangle is this size, and we're going to use 1,000 of them. How much will it take in all? So we're looking at 1,000 times 7,500 hundredths. So the quilt will have an area of 750 square inches. As you multiply 10 by 10, 100, and 1,000, how does the position of the decimal point change in the product? The decimal moves to the right with each zero in the equation. So if we did it by 10,000, it would move 4 times. So with each zero, count the number of zeros there are, that's how many times the decimal place moves. George is making a scale model of the Willis Tower in Chicago for a theater set. The height of the tower is 1,353 feet. If the model is 1/100th of the actual size of the building, how tall is the model? We're going to follow that same principle, but as the last video, but instead of moving to the right, it is now going to move to the left. So however many place values after the decimal, that is how many times the decimal will move to the left. So there are 2 place values after the decimal, and 1/100th, and 0.01 is what I was getting ready to say, but I wanted to say it academically correct. So when we multiply that, that gives us 13 and 53 hundredths. So George's model of the Willis Tower is 13 and 53 hundredths feet tall, instead of being 1,353 feet tall, which is really tall. Okay, so as you multiply by 1/10, 100th, how does the position of the decimal point change in the product? The decimal moves to the left with each equation. If we look over here, what fraction of the actual side of the building is the model? So it is asking us the size, and it talked about it right here as well. So it is 1/100th of the actual size. So how would we write 1/100th as a fraction? 0.01, which is 1/100th. Okay, and now we're going to multiply using a hundreds flat. Giant tortoises move slowly. They can travel a distance of about 1,700 miles in 1 hour. If a giant tortoise travels at the same speed, how far could it move in 4 hours? So here's our keywords and numbers. 1,700 miles in 1 hour. How far could it move in 4 hours? So 1,700s and 1,700s and 1,700s and 1,700s. So complete the statement, describe the problem. I need to find how many total miles are in 4 groups of 1,700s, because you're not going to have 1,700s groups of 4. So think about that as you're writing the problem. Write an expression to represent the problem. 4 times 1,700s. Use the decimal model to find the answer. What does each small square in the decimal model represent? So just one square. If all of them equal 100, what does 1 out of 100 equal? 1/100th. Okay, so now we're going to shade in the model to represent that question. Shade a group of 17 squares to represent the distance a giant tortoise can move in 1 hour. Okay, so we shaded in 17 boxes. Use a different color to shade in each additional group of 17 squares until you have 4 groups of 17 squares. So when you record your total number of shaded squares, it should be 68 out of 100. 4 times 17 equals 68. So the giant tortoise can move 6,800 miles in 4 hours. So as you shaded it, it should have looked like this. So as you can see, there is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tenths and 8 hundredths shaded. Thank you, and that is all. You'll move on to your next step.